Okay, so we have got the lid open and taken off, and we've just let that drain down, lifted the pump out. Any water just has trickled down. Just prise gently the silicone tube off from one end. This is the inlet, and done the same the other side, being very careful not to move anything or jar anything. So we're going to take this out. This looks like it is a sealed unit, so no idea what's going on inside of that, but let's take it back over here and we'll compare it to this new one that I've got here. Now we've got a problem with the size of the coupling. That's going to be an issue, I suspect, so yeah, maybe this isn't going to be as suitable as I first thought. So yeah, these are not removable, so we may well have to wait after all for the correct one, because I don't think that's going to be pushing on very easily. Yeah, so possibly back to square one there. I'm going to see if this fits, but if not, we'll have to wait for David to bring out the correct one. I didn't realise that that had totally different fittings on the end. I'm going to bare these wires and just blow through this and try and trigger it, but we'll do that on a different video, so I've got to bare the wires first. But we're going to see if we can get this in there. It's a little bit longer but not much, so yeah, let's see if we can fit this. Right, so obviously we eventually realised that the supplied pump is not supplying enough water to trigger the flow sensor. So what I've gone and done is bought a larger pump. We've got a larger delivery tube which I've had to run up inside the machine. Comes out here, it's quite stiff, nylon or polythene tubing, so it's in a 90 through the sensor and back to the normal size tube. It has now got rid of any bubbles that we had in the tube at this end, and there was a bubble, and there's one tiny one left right at the end there, and we've got a pretty nice flow. If we pull that out, it's on about half speed at the moment, 15 watts, and but the key thing is, if I grab, I don't know whether I can do this with one hand or not. Hang on, let me just see if I can do this. We grab the ends of the flow switch and I can short them out. No, I can't with one hand. Hang on, let's see if we can do this a different way. Let's pop the camera there, grab the wires, so one on there, so the flow sensor is now being triggered correctly, and there was a suggestion to turn the original flow sensor up, so there was a bit more gravity pulling on the float or whatever's inside these things to trigger it, but you know, the flow's too low. It's as simple as that. So I've gone out and bought that other pump. The pump with various pipes and bits and pieces was about 75 quid. But if it gets this flow sensor working correctly, and I see that as quite important, if you don't know the water's flowing for sure, if the machine won't fire, the sensor's stopped it. But to be bypassing it or never be quite sure whether the sensor's working correctly, you've then got to pull the pipe, return pipe out. That's just a pain in the backside. I'd rather make sure we had plenty of flow going through this without blasting tubes off of anything. It's not under that amount of pressure. So we are done, and we can now connect the sensor. Connect the sensor back up to the wiring, and the new pump has got a massive long wire on it, so probably going to have to plug that in somewhere separately, Yeah, so not ideal, but we get around these problems one way or the other. Right, done. Spun the air assist pump round. I'm still quite keen to wire that up to an on-off switch using this spare hole or this larger one. I'm just going to see what switches I've got out in the other workshops. We've got a brand new pump which is far more powerful than the one that was supplied. That is going off to a separate supply now, earthed supply. It's an earthed water pump, and I've set Alexa up to turn that on and off as requested. And just done a quick test fire on some paper so we can get a pulse. The sensor, flow sensor is connected, so that is all working. We're going to 3D print the case for the Lightburn camera. I'll get that done tomorrow, and as I say, I'm quite keen to get this switch sorted out so I can turn that noisy pump on and off as required. So yeah, pretty much done. Another day or two's work and we should be happy with that.